Today we're going to be answering the question, when should I upgrade my PC? But first, my name is Steve Smith, this is TQA Weekly, and I'm going to be talking about two sets of questions you should be asking yourself before you even think about upgrading your PC. Is your computer incapable of completing the task it was designed for? And is your computer no longer compatible with the applications and tools you use it for because it no longer meets the minimum specifications? Yes. If you want to see the show notes and the entire 2.5 pages I wrote, you go to tqaweekly.com/SE9EP13. But we're going to go rapid fire through this, and I'll explain some of this details that you need to take into consideration before you buy a whole brand new computer. And let's start off with a few questions. Is it because your processor is too old, slow, or you need a better one? That is one question you have to ask yourself. Is it because you don't have enough RAM or your RAM is too slow? Is it because you need a better graphics card for your computer? There are plenty of reasons why you can upgrade your graphics card, not just gaming. Is it because your hard drive is too slow or you need a bigger hard drive? And here's the last one, and it is also important. Does it lack the connections required to connect new hardware? It is possible you do tasks where you get new hardware for a job that you currently need to do that you've always done before. It's just that the hardware upgrades with time and you just can't connect it to your current computer. So let's go through some of these. And some of these will require more dramatic changes than others. So starting with the hard drive. If you have a hard drive that's too slow, you might want to upgrade to an SSD or a better hard drive. If your hard drive is too small, you might actually want to upgrade to a bigger hard drive. The cool thing about that is because SATA has been a standard for a really long time and the connector does not change, they are always backwards compatible. So you can always take a newer hard drive and put it inside an older computer, or you could put a older hard drive in a newer computer. It's completely backwards compatible. RAM is similar to that. As long as we respect the generation, we have multiple speeds that we can add to our main board. So if the RAM is just too slow or you need more, you can just add more RAM or just change out the RAM, because if it's too slow, you have to change all of the RAM at the same time, and that should be easy to do. The thing is that if the RAM is simply too slow, even with the fastest RAM available, let's say you need DDR4 RAM and your computer's running DDR2, then you would have to change the main board and the processor at the same time. Now, if you need a better graphics card, you have to keep in mind that there are two things you have to think about when it comes to your graphics card. When we're talking about gaming, though, we're talking about the VRAM, which is mostly the detail in the image, and the processing power, which is related to frame rate. However, you can use the processing power for a lot of different kinds of tasks as well. So it might be that you need a graphics card that has more processing power or more VRAM. That obviously will depend on your use case. And up to there, you don't really have that dramatic of a change to any of the computers. As long as you don't have to completely swap out a main board, you don't have any really expensive things to do. What starts being really expensive is if you don't have the connectors required on your main board and there are no add-on cards that exist that allow you to add that new hardware to your computer. So that would require a new main board for sure, because other kinds of stuff can have add-on cards added to your computer. And if your processor is too slow, old, or you need a newer one, that would require that you also change your main board, because most of the time when that becomes an issue, you have been using your computer for a really long time. And the parts that you would need to get are also probably too slow anyway. So if you need to change out the processor or the motherboard needs to be changed out, you are likely going to incur a cost of a new CPU, motherboard, and you might even have to change your RAM. In that case, that will probably be an upgrade similar to the cost of a suitably high-end graphics card. So if you only need to change the graphics card, change the graphics card. If you need to do some other types of upgrades, including the main board, the processor, and the RAM, that is one thing. If you just need to change the RAM out for a faster one, you can do that. And if you just need an SSD or a bigger hard drive, you can do that. But none of that individually requires that you change your entire computer itself. What requires that you upgrade your computer is if all of these are true, so that your processor's too slow, you don't have enough RAM, or it's too slow, your graphics card is not good enough, your hard drives are too slow, and the technology in your computer is simply too old to be able to connect to all your newer stuff. If you can answer all that at the same time, then of course you might need a brand new computer. But in that case, you might also want to keep in mind that you might have to swap out your power supply. The power supply, though, is a fairly easy thing to think about. If you need to use a splitter on it, it is not meant for the task you're trying to do. So like if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't, share with those you think can benefit from this, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions for topics, email me at ask@tqaweekly.com or go to my website, tqaweekly.com, for other ways of subscribing, other ways of getting these episodes in advance by joining, and of course, experiencing the ad-free version once you are a member. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.